Hi and welcome to episode 15 of The Real Women of Boxing, where women with working knowledge and experience of the fight game bring you the latest interviews, news and reviews. My name is Jacqui-Lee Pryce, and today I've got an old friend on. My co-host is Louise Orton. How you doing, Lou? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I am very good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Nice to see you again.
It is. It's nice to see you all tanned and gorgeous.
Yeah, all refreshed.
And ready to go soon, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Let's get straight into these fights. Lovely little few cards on this weekend. Let's start off with the undisputed welterweight championship, and that was Jessica McCaskill versus Alma Ibarra. Thoughts?
Yeah, very good. Bit of a brawl, that one, wasn't it? It was... from McCaskill, there was quite a few kind of wild shots, just swinging haymakers, but give her a due, she was relentless. She kind of, I know later in the round, she normally kind of loses her energy, but obviously it was stopped quite early, wasn't it? So we didn't get to see the reduced pressure from McCaskill, but yeah, it was kind of a relentless brawl from her, really. But fair play to Ibarra. I think she knew that really she probably wasn't going to kind of withstand it, and to protect herself, I think she made the right decision, to be honest, to protect herself. Yeah.
To be honest, I felt like Ibarra seemed a bit overwhelmed, literally from the first bell. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. But I can totally understand why, because when you've got someone steamrolling at you and they're kind of... Normally when someone's quite a technical fighter, you know where the shots are coming from. But when someone's quite wild and you don't know where the shots are coming from, it can be quite overwhelming, because it is quite difficult to defend yourself from kind of every avenue possible. But yeah, I think she was a bit overwhelmed, and I think she struggled to kind of settle. But McCaskill didn't let her settle, which I suppose is probably a pretty good tactic from McCaskill.
I agree that it can be quite overwhelming. But for me, first and foremost, McCaskill comes out, fast out, and she's aggressive anyway. We all know that. I think what she lacks in boxing skills, she makes up with like a huge heart and a willingness to just to get in there and to take one, to throw a couple. She's not only a brawler, she throws shots from like completely unorthodox. She's out of distance, and yet she seems to land, doesn't she?
Yeah, she did. As far as tactics, I think she did, in times of it, she did good at kind of stepping back and picking her off. But I think where McCaskill just kept coming, she didn't get a chance to set her feet every time that she kind of tried to pick her off. McCaskill just kept coming, and I think she just struggled to find her feet to pick her off.
But what about the tactics that Alba's team came up with? Because let's be fair, she's the taller fighter, right? She stood most of the time in front of a punch, and we know that's not a good game plan. So, good game plan or not?
No, not where she was standing. No, like I say, she should have obviously been giving herself the room to counter punch and to kind of stand her ground and keep her at range, really. But letting her in tactically, it probably would have worked if McCaskill kind of didn't put on as much pressure as what she did. I think Ibarra could have probably picked her off a bit more easier, but I think that's why she struggled, just with the kind of relentlessness from McCaskill.
It's funny because I think in the middle of the second round, she did try to kind of keep a bit of distance. But I just thought it was the completely wrong game plan to try and trade with somebody who's known to be an aggressive little so-and-so.
Yeah. Agreed.
So Jessica McCaskill won that fight because Ibarra quit on her stool. She was having none of it, and they were saying that the reason why she quit was, she said, because of the holding. But I tend to agree with you, Louise, that she thought it's just not worth it.
Yeah, and I think she was getting caught with so many shots. I think she was at risk of getting quite seriously hurt. So obviously, to protect herself, I think she made the right decision. Whatever reason she gave, I think it was the right decision anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have heard in the past that there was, a possible matchup between Cameron and her, our own Chantel Cameron and her, and then it's on, then it's not on, then it's, a pipe dream. Would or would you not like to see that fight?
I think
at a catch weight?
Cracking fight, because Chantel, as we know, is quite a relentless fighter anyway. Got quite a high work rate, and she will stand and trade. And
I know.
Trading together, I think it'll probably be a messy fight, I think. But I think, that would be a very exciting fight. I think from start to finish, it will be all guns blazing. I don't think there'll be much kind of non-action in the rounds.
I totally agree. And I'm not just saying this because we know Chantal. I personally believe she's the more superior boxer. She's got the higher IQ. But like you say, I think it would be an interesting fight because one thing about McCaskill is she comes to slay, doesn't she? And it would be all action.
Yeah, I did see something on, I don't know if it was Twitter earlier, that Chantal had posted basically saying to McCaskill, kind of, let's make it happen.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was at 147 pounds. Let's make it happen. Let the teams talk. So we'll see what comes of that.
To be fair, I didn't see that, so I'm like psychic.
Yeah, no, I just seen it. I saw it literally about 10 minutes ago. So yeah, maybe talks will start happening behind the scenes, and maybe we'll see the fight.
Yeah, that would be an absolutely cracking fight, and I'd like to see it here. Thank you. Actually, Madison Square Gardens would be a good one. Yeah, Madison Square Gardens would be a good one. She deserves Chantal deserves a big stage in the States, doesn't she?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so moving on to the boxer card. It was, full of kind of newbies, and I quite like the fact that they're trying to give a platform to people that are up and coming. I guess that's the whole purpose anyway of boxer. Let's start with Adam Azim, fantastic former amateur against Anthony Loffett. I really like this kid. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, he's cracking, and I think from kind of what I've heard about him, not many people withstand with him. He's just, he's something special. He is definitely,
he is, isn't he?
As he proved last night.
Yeah. I mean, what I think he's got, he's explosive, he's a showman, he's great technically. But, having known and watched him since an amateur, I don't even think that he's shown not even 10% of what he can do.
Yeah, he was very relaxed last night in that fight, very relaxed, and I think he found it quite easy. You could see he was comfortable. Definitely more to come from him.
And what about the I shouldn't laugh, the knockdown in the first 25 seconds and then that onslaught?
Yeah.
He's a spiteful little so-and-so, isn't he?
That was a cracking knockdown, and literally, obviously, when the ref then restarted it, he literally ran at him, and I did panic for a minute because I thought, he could run onto one there, like the way he steamrolled in. But yeah, he steamrolled in and just literally tried to take him out, didn't he?
Yeah.
It was brilliant. Yeah,
I think that he enjoys the glamour. He enjoys the hard work, but he enjoys the glamour. He enjoys the game, as in, technically and all of that stuff. So I think in terms of just him steaming in and trying to take the guy out, I don't. Yeah, okay, we could argue it's a little bit of lack of experience, but I think he truly likes a little bit of flipping tear up.
Yeah, I think he likes a bit of a brawl. Yeah, a bit of a showman as well by the backflips after.
I quite, to be fair, if he couldn't box, I'd be like, yeah, okay. But yeah, he can box, so I'll excuse it. I don't mind it, and I'm really, really looking forward to seeing him, and also, obviously, his brother. I think they're going to be huge stars, if I'm honest.
Definitely, definitely. But good first round stoppage for him.
Nice. Early night. Okay, so River Wilson Bent versus Tyler Denny.
Yeah.
Both of them sort of around the same. I think Bent had 13 fights, no defeats. I think Tyler Denny had only lost one of his in his fight. He's only lost one. They'd had a fight before. I can't remember what happened, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah.
But this was the second time around. And it did seem to me, when you kind of read the social media, or you kind of I got the feeling that River Wilson Bent was the favourite. And this was for the English middleweight title, by the way.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that fight?
It was a bit tit for tat. I thought they both kind of give as good as they got, and as the judges kind of, I think it was a split decision in the end, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah, it looked like quite a hard fight to score, to be honest, because 1 minute kind of Bent was getting the better of them, and then the next minute Denny was, and it kind of went backwards and forwards throughout the whole fight, really. Obviously, in being a southpaw, I think that made it a little bit more difficult. I think no one likes a southpaw in fighting. I think they end up things a bit more complicated than what they need to be. But they both had brilliant work rate. They both kind of competed with each other pretty well. It was messy at times. But yeah, no, I think the right decision. In terms of but no, it was an exciting fight to watch, I thought.
I enjoyed it. I'm going to be honest. What I did like about Denny, when he sort of keeps it nice and long, you know, that jab was quite difficult for Wilson Bent. When Wilson Bent was keeping that jab nice and long, it was quite difficult for Denny to get around it. And I think one of the things for me was like, he just didn't give up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it was, most of you be like, oh, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? But he just kept closing down that gap. He was patient, closing down that gap, taking it on the gloves. And I think for me, that was the thing that I was like, you know what? I like the way that he was just patient, and then he started to take his man apart. I did enjoy it, though. I think it was a great fight.
Point deducted as well, didn't he, for holding?
Wilson Bennett. Yes. Yeah. He's a little bit, a few of the little tactics were a bit sneaky. Come on.
It's a bit messy at times, wasn't it? But
bearing in mind there was quite a height difference, wasn't there?
Yes, yeah, he was a bit taller, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was taller, and that was so apparent. And when he started sticking out that jab, I was like, oh man,
it?
Yeah, proper.
Yeah,
but I enjoyed it. I think, if I'm honest, River Wilson Bent has got a bit of a leaky defence.
Yes,
he kept getting caught consistently with the same shot.
He did, yeah.
You know, you're like, hello.
Yeah, move your head. Yeah.
But I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. Moving on to Caris Arkansas versus Vader Massacate. I do like a bit of... What's that?
Another southpaw.
I know. Do you know what? I like a bit of Caris Arkansas.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good fight for Caris. I think that was quite a decent opponent for Vader's actually an opponent that I've suggested throwing in the mix for my next fight. But yeah, no, good fight, I thought. Caris, again, she had a good work rate. I think that the skill difference was evident in terms of obviously the GB background for Caris. It went the distance, but I think, as she said at the start, she wasn't looking for the knockout. She wasn't going to go looking for it. If it was there, but she wasn't going to go looking for it. But no, I think it was a good debut for her.
Absolutely. I mean, I was hoping that she was going to stay and do the Commonwealths, but it is what it is. I think that was the only thing that she didn't do in her amateurs, or the only competition she went to. She is an absolutely quality boxer. And again, I believe she is going to be someone that, you know, when they get over the fact that it's female boxing, she will, should I say, be a fan favourite, because she's aggressive, she's spiteful and all.
Yeah.
She's got a little bit of spite, a little seasoning on. Do you know what I mean? And I think that is what makes people a fan favourite. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%. I sparred her a few times up when we was up Sheffield, up the GB camps. I sparred her a few times then, and I remember her being quite aggressive then. But yeah, no, definitely. I think fans want to see. They want to see a fight. They want to see people getting hurt. I suppose that's what a lot of boxing is about, really, and people like seeing a good tear up. So yeah, I think she'll be an exciting one that people will enjoy watching.
Absolutely. One thing I will say, I don't really care about knockouts. I've said it before. If it comes, it comes. What I do think was quality was her ability to be able to, a shot selection was just on point, and she was able to show her skills. And so, reading some of the comments before her fight, and not just her, just in general, but reading some of the comments before that card, there was one person that was like, you know what, we're being forced to watch female boxing, you know, like they're being held down.
Yeah.
And then I read some of the comments after, and it was like, no, you know what, it's really improving, it's good, I really enjoy it. And these, I'm presuming, are all men, but but at the end of the day, I don't think it's a case of the boxers have got the boxers have got better. I think it's a case of that whole changeover of the influx of the amateurs.
Yeah, definitely. They, like, I think we spoke about it a while ago. There's a lot more kind of decent amateur boxers that kind of haven't turned over yet, that I think when they do turn over is obviously going to change the scene of female boxing professionally, because the ones that have turned over so far doesn't even really scrape the surface really of what is.
Absolutely.
So I think in time to come it's going to develop massively, but I just hope that people don't bypass the amateurs and go straight to the pros, because I think having the amateur experience is massively important, as is kind of proven for some boxers that have kind of bypassed that route. I think it is vital that they do have the amateur experience before kind of turning pro.
I completely agree. We both have had many years in the amateurs.
Yeah.
So we are biased, but I do, you know, when you look statistically, when it comes to those championship levels, it's all very good when we're doing the journeyman, not me, you lot. But do you know what I mean? It's all very well, you're taking them out. But when the real, you know, the real nitty gritty, that is when we see the difference. So, yeah, I'm absolutely in agreement. So what about your thoughts on Caris Arkansas? She had her amateur coaches in the corner. You know, obviously she knows them. She feels comfortable with them. Am coaches in the pro game for or against it?
I think it depends on an individual basis. It depends on the coach and the coach's mindset, because some of the stuff that you do in amateurs isn't going to work in the pros. One thing that I think should be kept is the work rate of the amateurs, because the work rate in obviously the amateurs, you've got less amount of rounds. The work rate is quite intense, and I think what is quite evident in a lot of the amateurs that are now turning over, they keep that high work rate, so the fights in the pros become more exciting, and a lot of them are over a lot quicker than what they would be, because it's quite a fast pace. But in terms of the longevity of how long they can keep that pace up for, is, I think, yet to be shown. But definitely something that I think is an advantage from coming from the pros and having the amateur coaches, is the intense work rate that they kind of encourage. At the same time, not necessarily Caris's coaches, but some coaches, I think, lack the knowledge of the professional game in terms of like making weight and how it's all done. I think there is still development that needs to be done there. But if it works for people, then go for it. If it doesn't, then obviously not. There is quite a few people out there, I think, that are stuck with their amateur coaches who've got pro licenses. But yeah, I think, again, it's still early days for a lot of that. So I think that's something really that needs to be kind of tried and tested, really.
I agree. Going back to your point about the pace, to be honest, I don't think... And we'll talk about that later. With regard to the level of journeywoman, it's quite difficult to, people are trying to maintain a pace, or they are maintaining a pace because of their amateur background. But the fights sometimes aren't going the distance because of, I believe, the lack of high quality opponents, journeywomen. But we'll talk about that in a bit. My point on an amateur coach coming through, I think one of the things that people fail to recognise, you'll know this, but actually it's harder to get an amateur licence than it is to get a professional licence. That's the first thing. On top of that, technically, amateur coaches have to go through not just knowledge of the sport, but they have to actually do, the pad work, the physical side of it, the practical side of it. And that's where I think they do differ from professional coaches.
Yeah.
They are two different sports. And I think that you're right. If they go into it thinking that they can just do an amateur style in a pros, they're going to fall down. I think it's important to learn the skill set, be open to learning the skill set. And from what I understand, though, Lou, it's quite difficult to kind of ask questions because you're now in the pro scene and you're earning money and no one wants to tell you.
Well, I wish I did. Yeah.
So you can't even go like, I think it's quite difficult. But let's remember, these same guys, these are the same guys that made AJ a world champion. So
yeah. And I think like what you were saying about the skill set, I mean, anyone can pick up a set of pads and hold a set of pads in front of someone.
100%.
Knowing kind of how to hold pads properly and how to position your hands for certain shots and stuff. I mean, it can make a huge difference for the boxer's accuracy, the way they kind of land punches, the way they throw punches, their movement between punches.
100%.
Down to kind of the skill set of the pad man. So yeah, 100%.
If you think about it, there are so many different styles of boxing in an amateur setting that they will have had more experience with different fighters.
Yes, 100%, definitely. And I mean, some coaches that I've seen kind of around will kind of hold a pad for like a 1-2 kind of quite wide apart. But I mean, when throwing those shots, their accuracy, they're actually going either side of the opponent rather than straight down the middle. So there is kind of a massive difference out there. And I've been with some people on the pads throughout kind of my years in boxing, and I think, oh my God, like this is horrendous. But then other people, I really like their pads, and it's because it makes you feel, it can make you feel better when you've got a good pad person in front of you than if you haven't.
100%.
That definitely makes a difference.
And I'm going to be honest, I've seen some wide boxing recently, and that's down to pad work.
Yeah, exactly.
Completely down to pad work. And again, I think if people don't sit back and think, what can I do to improve? As a coach, it's never going to get better.
No, exactly, yeah.
I enjoyed a bit of Caris, and I'm going to be honest, I think she's going to be absolutely, someone special to look at. I'm going to be honest, I was quite surprised after the rumour mill was going around saying that her and Lauren were going to sign with Matchroom, and then obviously Matchroom were sending out cars.
Yeah.
They were putting the boat out, and I'm actually quite surprised that she signed with Boxer. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know what their deals are or what their offers were, but I suppose they've obviously gone with Boxer because from their aspect, it was better for them, whether it's kind of better money or whether it's a longer term contract or whether it's kind of more fights. I think, I mean, they're both big platforms, Sky and DAZN, and I mean, obviously they're both going to be a decent deal, but I think they've probably balanced up each offer and obviously gone with what was better for them, whatever reason that will be, whether it's financial or whether it's kind of the amount of boxing. But I suppose you know that.
Yeah, I mean, Caris was quoted as saying that she felt the communication with Ben Shalom was a little bit better. I'm going to be honest, I think Eddie Hearn missed a trick there. He really should have pulled out all the stops, and if that meant writing a few more O's.
Yeah. Send them my way if you like.
Well, listen, you know what? Because there's some quality, like you said, so we've said there's some quality boxers out there, and now everyone's like, oh, okay, this is the real deal. I quite like the fact that Caris has decided to box on a different card to Lauren. What are your thoughts on that?
I can see why they've done it, I think, because for them, they probably want to be able to support each other. And if they're both fighting on the same night, they're more worried about themselves than they're going to be for each other. So, yeah, I think in that aspect, it allows one to kind of give the other their full attention when they're kind of competing and to give the support that they need rather than being kind of caught up in what's going on for them. I think that's a good decision.
I think it's a great decision. Having spoken to them just before the Olympics, and they are very in tune with each other. If you sit and literally, they'll answer each other's questions. Finish each other's questions and stuff like that. So they're very in tune. And one thing I was thinking was, when Caris got knocked out of the Olympic Games, I was like, oh my God, how is Lauren going to cope with that? And so there's that added. I think Caris did mention it, that added like energy, the expended energy that you just don't need as an athlete.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I imagine that their camps, although they're probably still training at the same times, I mean, their camps probably run slightly differently, which I think will probably be beneficial as well. Because, I mean, when you've got someone who's kind of in the last few stages of camp, like the weight cut is getting like pretty tough, you're tired, you're drained, I think you need that supportive person around you that isn't in the same mindset as you.
Yes.
Because imagine both of them being in camp and being at that particular stage both at the same time.
Well, they have though, haven't they?
Yeah, I suppose. But up Sheffield, I think obviously you've got the distractions, you've got other people around you, haven't you?
It's true. It's true. Rather than trying to kill each other.
That's what I mean. If it's just the two of them in a house or a flat, or like kind of wherever they live, I imagine it could get pretty tough. But
yeah,
kind of just differentiating the fight dates and stuff probably gives each other that little bit of kind of breathing space to the supportive one for the other. So yeah, fair play to him.
Yeah. And also I think in terms of being compared to each other, I think it's inevitable and it's unfair. And so in that respect, it'll be really great.
Yeah, they're completely different weights.
But also completely different fighters, to be fair.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, no, I agree with it, yeah.
Yeah, I am really looking forward to, because both of them are horrible, spiteful in the ring, horrible, spiteful, which makes me laugh because when you look, especially like outside the ring, everyone's sweet and demure.
Yeah.
I love it. So, just on that card as well, we saw Dylan Chima. That was his first competition after he signed. He won the Boxer Series, and it was his first competition after the win. He's obviously now signed with Boxer, and he got the decision against Sue Greener. One of the best things about, obviously, the platform of female professional boxing blooming is that, many girls get to show their skill set each and every week. And with that, obviously, you need journey women. What are your thoughts on the kind of level of some of the British journey women thus far?
To be honest, there isn't many. There's not many British journey women available. I think me and Kyle was actually looking a couple of days ago at potential opponents for me in the UK to obviously keep costs down. But I think there's 6 or 7 girls in the UK in my weight category. And I mean, don't get me wrong, some of them are prospects, but the journey girls that are there, I think 3 of them I've already approached for the fight, and they've all point blank said no, they won't take the fight. And I kind of look at some of the standard of the journey girls out there, and I mean, there's some girls there that I think are just there for a payday, and there is some girls there that will come and have a go. But yeah, I think the journey girls that kind of are there for a payday are going to get found out kind of sooner rather than later, and I think they'll only have kind of short-term careers. But it is difficult to find a kind of durable journey girl in the UK. And I mean, we're having to look like further afield in different countries. And I mean, obviously then when you've got to start taking into account flights, accommodation and things like that, the price of the opponent significantly increases, which makes it harder for the boxer.
But surely this is something that promoters need to start taking a look at.
Yeah, I think they do. It depends on obviously kind of the deal that you've got. If you're on a ticket deal, it's falling down to the amount of tickets that you sell as to whether you're going to cover the cost of the opponent, which then obviously puts added pressure onto the boxer, because not only are they worrying about their training camps and focusing on the boxing, they're also stressing financially and trying to kind of cover the cost of getting an opponent in from abroad, because there isn't any kind of durable opponents in the UK.
I have to agree. One of the things that I've noticed is I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that a lot of the women that have been offered it in this country are actually trying to become prospects.
Yeah, and that is another thing we found. I think that's why what the people that I would call journey girls or journey women, I think that's why they've turned down the fights, because they are trying to take the route of a prospect rather than kind of a journeyman.
Yeah, I this is the thing that I started to wonder, because we all know the job of a journeyman, journeywoman. It is to survive, etc. Obviously, the higher up you go, the better quality of journeyman stroke woman you get. And what I'm finding is when people complain about the standard or the mismatching of, the A side versus the B side, I think that comes down to the quality of journey women. I feel like some of them lack the basic skills in order to survive. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. And if I'm being brutally honest, I don't even think it necessarily boils down to the skill set of the journey girls that are there. I think it actually boils down to the amount of journey women that are available, because the ones that are available, obviously, like you're saying, the skill set might not be that great, so they are kind of the fights are over quite quick. However, you've got to look at it from the alternative way and look at, if they put two prospects in at the very beginning of their careers, two prospects, and obviously one loses, that's technically the start of their career damage. So I think at the moment what promoters are trying to do, where there isn't that many professional female boxers out there at the moment, the ones that are considered to be future prospects, I think they're protecting them and keeping them away from the other prospects, because they need to build up the kind of portfolio of the females that are out there. And I mean, if they're putting the prospects in right at the beginning, it's very difficult then to build up their careers, to boost their kind of publicity, isn't it?
I completely agree, but where does there need to be changes? So in terms of, I do think it's important that they've got the survival skills. If they are going to take that route, are the coaches effectively in the back of their mind thinking, my girl's a prospect and therefore I don't need to teach her those skills?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah, that could potentially be what's going on. But again, I suppose we won't really know what, unless you're kind of speaking direct to the coaches of the mindset, really.
There are people that come into the game and think, you know what, I can't sell a ticket, and so therefore, you know what, I'm going to earn my money as a journey man. Do you think the ego of a female is bigger, and that's why they can't just settle for that B side?
Do you know what? I won't say who it is, but there's a female that I know that's in the game that I think lost their debut, and then they kind of took some time away. They've trained pretty hard, and you can see the improvements that they've made. They've come back stronger, but what they've kind of decided to do is to get themselves out there. They've actually let themselves be the underdog in a fight. They've taken fights where they are the underdog, and they are the journeywoman, but rather than going there to lose and to survive, they've actually gone to win, and they've beaten some big names when they've been the underdog. So
I think that's the problem. I do think that I can see why, but I also see it as a problem, because at the end of the day, there is a unwritten rule when it comes to the men, and I think we saw a little bit of a change in that when it was pandemic time. Everyone was like, the gloves literally were off.
Yeah.
But I think that's the problem, or one of the problems in the female side. Is there any shame to just resigning yourself to the fact that, do you know what, I could earn a good bit of money and just be a journey person?
Again, I think it boils down to the individual. Me personally, it's kind of within me. I don't like losing. So
yes.
Can you kind of get in the ring knowing that you're there to survive, and technically that you should lose?
But the men do it.
I know, yeah, but I don't know. I think it boils down to the individual and kind of what's built within them. But for me personally, I couldn't go into a fight knowing that I was there to lose. I think that's more the kind of the competitiveness in me and the kind of determination to win. I don't think that's something that I could do. But I mean, like you say, if someone is in a situation where they're kind of struggling for finances, they haven't got anything else, they haven't got kind of a career elsewhere outside of the ring, and that is their only way to make money. I suppose some people have to do what's right for them, and they therefore kind of change their mindset, and they're there to earn the money rather than to kind of have their hand raised.
Listen, I think that and I'm not suggesting this should happen, but I think if they started to ship in journey women from abroad and the standard was higher, maybe that would encourage people
I think
to do better.
And I think kind of getting more people involved in the sport as well, it kind of needs to be kind of like mass engagement. I think like encouraging people to get involved in boxing, and especially females as well, because I mean 10 years ago kind of female boxing was kind of frowned upon, and it's kind of like a shock to hear about females that box. It's like, you're a female and you box, like and you look like that. That's not very feminine. Like, so I mean, I think it's in time to come. I think it will improve. But we'll soon see.
And talking of fights, you've got another fight coming up on the 30th of July. It's in Kent, is it not? Grays Inn?
It's Borders Kent. Yeah, it's just in Essex, so it's in Grays.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice. And second professional fight.
Yeah.
How is the training going so far? I know that you were on holiday, chilling, and then you got the call.
Yeah, so actually I think I was about 3 days into my holiday, and I was told that I wasn't actually on the show. They wasn't able to get me on it for whatever reason. So I was on holiday with my partner, who's also involved in my training, and we kind of said, look, enjoy the holiday, make the most of it. We've waited like nearly 2 years for the holiday. Make the most of it, enjoy it, have a bit of downtime, enjoy the food, like have a few cocktails and stuff, which is exactly what we did. We was away with his kids. We had a kind of brilliant time. Wasn't watching what I was eating. Enjoyed having a few cocktails. Came back from holiday on the Sunday night, and then the Monday morning, I came out of work to a text message from the promoter saying,
"You're on."
Yeah, saying, "Oh, actually, I've got you on the show. You've got 7 weeks." And it was kind of like, oh no. After
with my big belly hanging over my trap.
Exactly. In the hangover, because obviously in camp, like when you're training all the time, you don't have the luxury of being able to eat food for pleasure. You're eating food to fuel what you're doing. That
fuel.
No more, kind of no less. And the same with alcohol. You don't have the capacity to kind of drink the alcohol because you need to be focused on the training, and it does affect your weight. So I was so glad that I got on the show, and I've got a fight coming up. At the same time, I kind of thought, oh no, maybe I shouldn't have ate that burger on holiday.
Listen,
the chips.
I think that you're in a nice, relaxed place. I know what's been going on over the last couple of years, and sometimes you just have to take the opportunities when you can, and take your rest when you can. And
with this fight for kind of myself, I've decided to do slightly heavier than what I would normally box at. Still under lightweight, so I'm just boxing just over super featherweight. But at the end of the day, I need the fight. So whatever weight I will be is what I will box at. But yeah, we're aiming for about 60 kilos for this fight. Listen,
it's been great speaking to you as normal. And I am actually really pleased that you've got the second fight in a year.
Yeah, me too. Let's just touch wood.
Let's keep it positive.
Yes, 100%.
So listen, thanks ever so much for giving us your time, and listen, we'll speak soon, my darling.
Thanks, Jackie.
Coming up this week, on Wednesday the 29th of June, marks the British leg of the promo for Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua's undisputed heavyweight championship. The talented French boxer Joanna Wonyu will be boxing in her second professional fight on Friday the 1st of July in Bolton, and Queensby Promotions has a card on Saturday the 2nd of July at the OVO Arena with Joe Joyce, iBox fighters Henry Turner and Sam Noakes are on the same card, and hot prospect Tommy Fletcher finally will make his professional debut. If you like our content, please don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when we drop new content.